Good morning. So thank you for the response on that post about my brother, and just grief in general. Oh, side note, can you do me a favor if you're watching this right now? Put a 1 if you're watching live and a 2 if you're watching the recording, because I'm trying to figure out when the best time of day to do stuff like this is, aside from my compulsory live going, as evidenced by my bedhead and froggy voice and whatever. So I'm sitting here every morning. I wake up, kind of gather my thoughts and kind of try to get things together. And so I'm like, you know what? This is helpful information, because this is the difference between just letting grief swallow you whole and still being intentional with your day and moving forward, and also living with it, like bringing grief along, if you will. So my tips are, number 1, when you're up, when you're making that trip to the bathroom, or you're whatever the first thing you do is, start thinking of things that you're grateful for. And it might seem counterintuitive, or it might seem like a chore, and it probably will be for a while, but make yourself look for the good. So it can even be all of your basic needs, because think about people living in, tropical countries that have just huts or plastic dwellings. You're already more blessed than they are, if you will. So go through that. What am I grateful for? I always tell Jude, the food in my belly, the air that I breathe, the 2 legs that work, just go down the list like that. And the more you can think of, the better. And just hold tight to it. Just clutch it. So that's step 1. And if you're in like the early phases of grief and shock, it's going to feel so yucky to do that, but you just have to at least plant those seeds. You don't have to get jazzed up about being grateful and whatever. Just at least start to plant those seeds. Make sense? I need a drink, excuse me. Number 2, I do the High Performance Habits Journal. And I so love that, because it walks you through like what might be the most stressful thing of your day, and how would your best self handle that. And then on and on, like who do I need to serve today? Who needs me on my A game? What do I need to focus on? And I love what Brendon Burchard says about please hold for this brief interlude. What Brendon Burchard says about setting intention and releasing tension. So if you kind of close your eyes, and you can do this during the day, multiple points during the day, kind of close your eyes. Okay, what is my intention here? Like, what is the purpose of, this meeting at work? Or maybe you're going to a funeral, and I did not cope well with my grandma's funeral. And so, the next time I have to be at a service, I'm going to really work on this. What is my intention? My intention is to be present and to let grief do her job. Okay. And then you release the tension, and you just like do some exercises where maybe you roll your shoulders, and you're doing some deep breathing. When we bring more oxygen into our bodies and really breathe deeply, we can obviously improve our cognition. So it kind of floods your brain with oxygen. You can think maybe a little bit more clearly. You just release that tension. Another thing that I think helps with grief is really being honest with yourself about, are you grieving, and are you able to get through it? Or if you're a person who has depression, or maybe shows signs of it, just be honest with yourself about if you might need. There's something called situational depression. Remember, I'm a nurse. So situational depression is real. And if you just need a little bit of medication for a small time, there's no shame in that game at all. If you're hesitant about that, there is a supplement that I take from a company called Moon Juice, and I freaking love it. It's called Super You. And I can always tell when I don't get another shipment of it, or, maybe I haven't taken it for a few days, because it just takes the edge off of my rage. It does. It biohacks your cortisol response, and so cortisol is your stress hormone. It's cool. Super cool. Super You. That's what it is. If you want more info about it, I don't sell it. I mean, I don't work for Moon Juice, so I'll give you the deets. My point is, we are allowed to grieve, and we are allowed to be sad. But you know me, and you know my mantra is like, we are not doing anybody any good when we stay stuck and when we stay low and depressed and, you know, not contributing to the world, but also not, we owe it to ourselves to live fully, right? We only get one shot at this. So if you're stuck in a rut and you're just so full of sadness and despair and whatever, and grieving is just swallowing you whole, you have to look at your long-term plan, I believe. Consider your options and weigh them and think about how you want to spend your time, because, you know, you'll never get another July 24, 2019, right? Speaking of, it's my half birthday. And so I also want to point out, I'm almost done, I promise. I also want to point out, just because you're grieving doesn't mean you can't find the joy and be the joy. Like, it's not, don't label it. Just feel your feelings. One of the best things I was ever taught is that feelings just want to be felt. And so don't be like, oh my gosh, am I bipolar if I'm like, I'm supposed to be grieving because so-and-so or this situation or whatever big sad thing happened. But I actually am okay today and I feel okay. That's okay. Just ride that wave, right? So, again, if you're watching live, give me a 1. If you're watching the recording, give me a 2 in the comments, because I want to know what time of day is like the best to do this kind of stuff. And I hope this helped in some way. I referenced a few different things like products and stuff that I use. So this is like the high performance. Oh, you can't see that print. High performance planner. I love it. Yeah, just find something that works for you and remember to live on purpose.